In the beginning was the first man, or Adam. As many are familiar, he is known biblically as the father of humankind and is believed to be the first human to be placed in the Garden of Eden. However, research shows intriguing information that suggests otherwise. According to the doctrinal teaching using the book of Genesis in the Bible, Adam was the first human created. In the same book, it is said that he was created from dust and God breathed life into him. He is considered the ancestor of all humans, and his story is foundational to the Abrahamic religions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Irrespective of this, valid proof exists linking this first man to an ancient Pharaoh of Egypt. This video explores the striking connections between a Pharaoh of Egypt and Adam of the Bible. In this video, like an actor double, our deuteragonist is none other than a mighty Pharaoh of Egypt. Pharaoh Akhenaton was an Egyptian pharaoh who was the 10th ruler of the 18th dynasty. Reflecting back to the religion of ancient Egypt, traditional polytheistic beliefs were followed. The Pharaoh Akhenaton, notable for his radical religious reforms, defied centuries of traditional worship of the Egyptian pantheon. He decreed in the mid-14th century BCE that his subjects were to worship only one god, the sun disk, Aten. He declared the elevation of this god, Aten, as the supreme deity and the fervent rejection of old polytheistic beliefs. This, in turn, created issues for the pharaoh. Nevertheless, the sun disk represented by Aten was to be seen as the source of all life and the only true god. As he believed in the worship of one god, he ordered the construction of a new capital city, Amarna, where he built temples dedicated to the worship of Aten. Reverting to the present day, one can easily trace the development of monotheism back to ancient Egyptian mythology. Akhenaton's belief may have inspired the story of Adam and Eve in a single, all-powerful deity, which he sought to promote in opposition to the traditional polytheistic religion of Egypt. Or perhaps, Akhenaton's life was purposely repackaged into the biblical character Adam. Pharaoh Akhenaton, with his new religion, moved the capital of Egypt to a new city, Amarna, which, mentioned previously, he built in honor of Aten. Amarna was a paradise with lush trees, flowing rivers, and shrubs. The Garden of Eden, the primary location of creation as referenced in the Bible, is one of which has been researched for years. A valid clue is found in the 2nd chapter of Genesis, however. In the 10th verse, it is written that a river flowed out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it parted and became 4 rivers. Note that there is just one active river flowing from a garden to then divide and become more than one. This river is the Nile. Suppose Eden, a popular paradise of creation according to the biblical story, is connected to the Nile. In that case, the possibility that the concept of a Garden of Eden was based upon Akhenaton's Garden of Aten. The word Aten can also be enunciated Eten, the beautiful paradise garden dedicated to the god Aten at Amarna in Akhenaton's attempt to create a new and perfect society. What an interesting pattern. Adam is connected to a garden, Garden of Eden. Akhenaton is connected to a garden, Garden of Amarna. Both are monotheistic. Chapter 2:7. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Misinterpretation is quite common with translation after translation of old text. There could be an effort to veil who Pharaoh Akhenaton was, hence the defacing of his statues. Reviewing the verse mentioned before, take a look at the word being used for ground, which is Adama, meaning land, red, or Adam. The term being used for mist, Ad, is taken from Aj, meaning dew or mist. In Egyptian language, the word Aten has a dual meaning of both land and estate. The word for breath is nafak, derived from the phrase nef, meaning breath. And similarly, the word for nose was af, derived from anef. Now the verse would read as, chapter 2, verse 7, and the gods pottered, fabricated the lower Egyptians from the ashes of the setting sun, and breathed into his nose the breath of life, and Aten became a living soul. Also, it's intriguing to note that the Hebrew name Adam, which refers to the main character in the book of Genesis, refers to mankind, not an individual person. Now, what we are seeing is the story of Genesis is being replaced by a more practical history of a specific group of people who are allowed to farm and multiply. It's worth noting that the term Adam may not apply to all humans or even all Egyptians, but rather specifically to the lower Egyptians living in the Nile Delta, which was ruled over by Pharaoh Akhenaton. From the perspective of popular Egyptian mythology, humans were created from clay by a potter of divine nature. A verse from the Torah suggests that the clay was made from the ashes of Ra. In addition, details from biblical creation speak of God creating man from the earth and breathing life into man. Interesting similarities. Adam, Adom, in the Egyptian tongue has the strong possibility of referring to a position, the high priest. Pharaohs, of course, were known as high priests. Biblical Adam, too, had responsibilities as a high priest. He was given priestly stewardship over God's creation. In the Garden of Eden, he was to keep the garden and was given dominion over creation. In Jewish tradition, Adam is sometimes referred to as priest king or a priestly mediator between God and humanity. This is based on the idea that Adam had a unique relationship with God and was able to communicate directly with him and offer sacrifices. Returning to ancient Egypt, Aten can also be referred to as Adjin, similar to the biblical name Adam. Adjin is a reference to the sun god, and the term Adjin may be linked to Edom and the color red due to the sun's color during sunrise or sunset. Hence, the word Adjum refers to the setting sun and also a red garment. The term Adjum, meaning red garment, may have significantly influenced the word Adam, which also means red. The red Adjum garment was closely associated with the setting sun and the god Adjin, which translate to mean Aten, the rising sun. With this said, it is highly plausible that priests who presided over the ceremony of the setting sun wore scarlet tunics. Modern-day Christian bishops have certainly been influenced by this Egyptian ritual and adopted scarlet stoles and copes. Now, the original Egyptian word, Adam, from Adjum was most likely then used to refer to the position of a high priest. What a connection! So Adam, in this case, Akhenaton, exercised dominion and authority over the garden, Egypt. What a thought-provoking exploration of the connections between ancient Egyptian history, its mythology, and the Bible. What about the two gardens? Can we find solidifying connections between Adam's garden and the pharaohs? Until next time.